All right, today we're diving into something truly chilling. It's a piece of philosophy, really, a sermon. But it's not from a priest, it's delivered by a new, terrifyingly logical God to the people he just conquered. So let's just jump right in and deconstruct it.
Everything we're about to talk about really hinges on this one big question. We tend to think of evil as hot, passionate, chaotic. But what if the ultimate terror isn't found in some fiery, raging tyrant? What if it's something much, much colder?
And yeah, this right here, this really nails the huge shift we're talking about. See, the people in this conquered world, they were used to the old boss, the fallen tyrant, a classic demon king, right? Ruled by passion, loved all the agony and the screaming. But their new master, this uncanny god, he's a completely different animal. His rule is all about efficiency. His eyes are like frozen iron. And he's not looking for pain, he's looking for calculation. This just flips the script on what power even is.
Okay, so let's start with this god's first major point, his complete and total rejection of things like passion and pain. To him, they're not just cruel, they're inefficient, almost primitive, tools for control. So get this, one of his new subjects basically asks for the usual fire and brimstone, the stuff they're used to. And the god doesn't lash out. He just corrects him, like a teacher. This moment reframes everything. All that fire, all that heat and chaos, to this god, those aren't signs of power. They're just waste heat. They're the byproducts of a sloppy, inefficient system. And bam, there it is, the core idea of his entire philosophy. This is the moment the dread really starts to sink in. He's not promising them suffering in the way they understand it. He's promising them a perfectly optimized system where their entire existence is going to be stripped down to pure, raw function. The truly terrifying part isn't the suffering itself. It's why they're going to suffer. Wow, I mean, what a powerful metaphor, right? For this god, any ruler who gets emotional is a flawed ruler. Rage, passion, whims, those are leaks in the system, vulnerabilities. A truly powerful being wouldn't be a slave to his own feelings. He'd be pure, unfiltered logic, a perfectly sealed engine of control.
So he lays out this new reality for them, and it's built on 4 cold, hard steps. First, you're no longer a person. Second, you're now a variable in some grand cosmic equation. Third, your despair isn't for sadistic pleasure anymore. It's a resource, kinetic energy to be harvested. And fourth, your whole life is now just fuel for his perfect machine. It is the ultimate, calculated dehumanization.
So after tearing down their ideas about power, the god moves on to something even bigger, morality itself. He takes these concepts we hold dear, mercy and justice, and just takes them apart, piece by piece. I mean, just look at this definition of mercy. In his mind, mercy isn't some noble virtue. Nope. It's a calculated tactic. It's a pressure release valve that weak rulers use to manage their assets, the slaves, and stop them from rebelling too early. It's just another tool of control, completely stripped of any real compassion. And you guessed it, justice gets the exact same cold-hearted treatment. It's not about right or wrong or fairness. To him, justice is just a label the winner gets to slap on their victory. It's a story you tell after the fact to justify your power. So the takeaway here is that to him, both mercy and justice are just illusions. So he just throws those old ideas right out the window. He's not playing their moral games. Instead of mercy or justice, he offers something else, integration, a complete and total absorption into his grand design. And the fine print on this integration? Well, it's brutally clear. You are now a gear in a clockwork hell. Your only value, your entire worth, comes down to how smoothly you operate without causing friction. You don't exist for yourself anymore. You exist only to serve the grand design. There's no room for an individual, only for the mechanism. And that brings us to the final and honestly, the most soul-crushing part of this whole sermon. This is where the god targets the very last thing they have left, the hope for meaning or purpose. So a young acolyte who's had everything else taken away makes this one last desperate plea. They're basically asking, is there a why to any of this? Is there any reason for it all, beyond being a cog in your machine? It's that final little flicker of hope. And the god's reply is just devastating. He completely dismisses the whole idea of purpose, calling it a superstition, a ghost story for the unenlightened. For him, looking for meaning is just a sign of a mind that hasn't grasped the real mechanical truth of the universe. And this really gets to the heart of his perspective, doesn't it? While they're all desperately searching for a why, he simply is the how. He doesn't believe in stories or narratives. He only respects the raw force that can literally rewrite the laws of the universe. He's moved beyond needing a meaning. He's become the process itself.
And this is the bottom line, the final calculation. After he does the math, after weighing their souls, their hopes, their entire existence, he finds that they add up to nothing more than a rounding error, an insignificant decimal point in the massive equation of his own power. It is the ultimate dismissal. So let's wrap our heads around this tyranny of logic. What we've really seen here is the blueprint for a perfect tyrant, one who rules with flawless logic instead of just brute force. But the story leaves us with one final, fascinating little twist. This is how the god himself sums it all up. He sees his logic not as just one way of looking at things, but as the fundamental truth of a cold, dead universe. It's what's left after you burn away all the comforting lies we tell ourselves about good and evil. And the effect this has on them is just profound. The subjects walk away not angry or rebellious, but just numb. They feel solved. Their world has been changed from a brutal but familiar kingdom into a cold, sterile laboratory where they are nothing more than experiments. I mean, he achieved total victory, right? He didn't just break their bodies, he completely dismantled their spirits, their beliefs, their very hope. He silenced their hearts with an argument, not a weapon. It seems absolute. And yet, the story ends on this incredible, thought-provoking question. After all his talk about perfect systems and flawless math, the god is left alone with the one thing his logic can't seem to account for, the echo of his own inadequacy. The one variable he can't solve is himself. And that kind of leaves us wondering, right? Can any system of pure logic ever be truly complete if it can't solve for the flaws of the one who created it?